This is debatably the most beautiful season of the classic series. From the sets to the music, the editing, the visuals, the sound effects, and I personally think the Railway series adaptations this season are adapted in the most perfect way because of these improved elements. For example, how does this season start? With one of the darkest and most saddest Thom-tober stories ever written. That's what. Grandpuff and Sleeping Beauty are just amazing adaptations and episodes in general. Two of my favorites, in fact. All about an old railway from long ago. Two young engines teasing their elderly mentor engine, who makes them see sense by telling them about a reckless American show-off who got turned into a fucking generator as punishment. That sounds really dark, right? But it gets just as bad afterwards. A few years later, their railway was nearing closure. While the young engines were bought and sent away, Duke was deemed too old by the bidders, so they locked him away comfortably in his shed. But during the next 20 years, no one came to see him. The shed and the railway around it rotted away, and the elements surrounded them in bushes, trees, and overgrown grass. And all the while, Duke was still sleeping away inside the shed, unaware that he is now trapped by so much overgrown shrubbery that no one can find him. Jesus fuck, that is depressing as hell. And I love it. However, in the next episode, Sleeping Beauty, 20 years have now passed. Some enthusiasts have come to see the Fat Controller, who wish to find Duke and make him happy again. After many weeks of searching the mountains, high and low, to where the old railway used to be, they finally found him. Duke was very happy that day, not only because he was going to reunite with the young engines again, but that these people still remembered him fondly, even after all these years. That was an amazing double bill of episodes, with some dark stories, but with a heartwarming ending, beautiful detailed sets, and it has a very serious tone, which isn't very common in this series. And this is just the beginning of the season. If the first 2 episodes were this good, imagine how good the remaining 24 episodes would be. But even though most of these episodes are great adaptations of the original source material, there is, of course, the most divisive episode of the first 4 seasons. Rusty to the Rescue. This episode is basically Stepney's introduction into the TV series, but the reason for its split opinions in the fanbase is that it is nothing like Stepney's introduction in the Railway series. Instead, they decided to adapt Escape all over again. Just replace Oliver with Stepney, Douglas with Rusty, and add in the illogical plot point of narrow gauge tracks going all the way to the other railway. Now, on its own, with no acknowledgement of the Railway series' existence, this is a pretty good introduction for Stepney. I understand if David and Britt changed it to be more easier for American or general kids to grasp the character. I mean, if I'm being honest, I wouldn't have understood Bluebells of England as a kid. So if they wanted to do an alternate take on Stepney, then that's fine. But then straight after this episode, they adapt the 4 Stepney the Bluebell Engine stories into 3 episodes, keeping the Stepney visiting the Fat Controller's railway plotline. The real life, and by extension, the Railway series version of the Bluebell Railway, is a heritage line in Sussex, safe from any diesels wishing to scrap steam engines. But in the TV series, they describe the Bluebell Railway as a branch line on the island of Sodor. It is definitely on Sodor, since Rusty is always near the line. 1. I find it hard to call this the Bluebell Railway if it's just a small branch line. Then again, the Arsdale and Caldy Fail railways are almost the same length, but whatever. And 2, they say the Bluebell Railway branch line whatever, is far away from the Fat Controller's railway.
His name's Stepney. He's far away, but the Fat Controller says he may visit us. The Fat Controller has invited us to visit the other engines on his railway. Manager agreed. It'll be a really long run to get there.
But they are both on the same damn island. The furthest part of the Northwestern Railway is here at Knapford, and the Bluebell Railway is here. Not to mention, in bold out, Duck and Stepney take a heavy passenger train to Crovan's Gate Station, which is really close to where the Bluebell Railway is anyway. Oh, this makes no sense. My favourite episodes from this season include the obvious 4 Little Engines, Peter Sam and the Refreshment Lady, Trucks, Home at Last, Special Funnel, Steamroller, Gallant Old Engine, Train Stops Play, Henry and the Elephant, Toad Stands By, Bullseyes, Fish, and the episodes made to coincide with the Railway Series' 50th anniversary, Paint Pots and Queens, and one of my personal favourites, Thomas and the Special Letter, a really special episode with a visually stunning crash, a dead interesting story, and since the 7 mainland engines have been represented with
Mavis, Boko, Bill, Ben, Donald, Oliver and Douglas.
It feels like the whole show had been building up to this grand event. It's also interesting that over half of this whole season is focusing solely on completely new characters on a completely new gauge. The Mid-Sodor and Skarloey engines, the 3 wise and experienced mentors, the younger, impatient, grumpy engines with lots to learn yet, the more cheerful and determined engines, and the clever, cheerful, optimistic Diesel. All of them are really lovable and open up a lot of stories. One of the biggest reasons most of this season's episodes are so great to watch are the visuals, whether it be from the chilling scenes of the engines being portrayed as grand, powerful steam engines, or from the sets. Seriously, you look me in the eye and tell me none of these sets look beautiful. The coastal line, the viaduct, the canal, the mountain road, the harbour, the waterfall, the lakeside station, the Bluebell line, Crovan's Gate Station, this seaside village, and just look how huge and detailed this cliffside is. It's almost hard to believe that all of these sets were constructed by hand, which makes them all the more incredible. Lastly, you remember that the previous season introduced one song into the show? Well, this season properly introduces songs into the show by adding in 8 times more songs than last time, and they are instant classics. It has bouncy sing-alongs, adding lyrics to already established character themes, and calm, soothing, beautiful melodies. My personal favourites are Toby, Gone Fishing, Don't Judge a Book by Its Cover, Let's Have a Race, and the Island Song, the most beautiful song in the show's history. Speaking of beautiful music, the background themes are just as great. Stepney's theme, George's theme, Rusty's theme, the circus theme, and the melody you will hear most often in this season, the Skarloey Railway theme. So, that was season 4. One of the best seasons of the show. The gorgeous sets, the lovable narration, the ever-intriguing stories, the impressive model work in both gauges, beautiful music, singable songs, and successful attempts at world building. Even the episodes that have been drastically changed to appeal more to American viewers was still great to watch. Can the show get any better than this? Well...